Previously on DUGROZ Reports. So when you add all of that together, the total we get is, drumroll please, $26,553 in total value. What about annual fees? So I have all of my annual fee cards listed here that are continuing into 2025. At least some of 2025. The fee listed is the fee that I paid either when they were opened, if it was opened in 2024, or at the most recent renewal in 2024, because sometimes annual fees can change. For example, the business gold was $295 and now it's $350, but at the time I opened it, it was $295. And yes, I'm doing some rounding. So like, instead of $695, I put $700. I just like the nice even math. The top row is the premium cards. Then we have the one oddball card, the Hilton Surpass at $150. And the 7 cards in the bottom row are all the $95 to $99 annual fee range. But again, I like to round to the nearest 25 or so dollars just for the sake of easy math. Well, what about annual fees? They are already accounted for. So the way I run my war chest of points, the way I play the game is travel pays for itself. So I have to pay annual fees out of either cash back or cashing out points. So as of the time they were opened or the most recent renewal, these fees have already been paid. I don't need to deduct the annual fees from the total because I've already done that. In other words, that cash on hand amount would be a lot higher if I had not already paid for these or if I didn't account for them. They were already accounted for in the figures you saw. Some examples, for example, I use points to cover the annual fee on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. When I opened my wife's business Platinum, I cashed out enough of the points from the sign-up bonus to just cover the annual fee. Others where there's no way to do that, like with Hilton, for example, I can't use Hilton points to pay the annual fee. I just took money out of my travel savings account and sent it over to that card to pay the annual fee. So I can take a deep breath. I can travel guilt-free knowing that my points and miles experience has no impact whatsoever on a net basis on my family budget. I don't have to budget anything at all for travel. All of my travel, even if I stop at a McDonald's and eat a cheeseburger, that comes out of my travel savings account while I'm traveling. So if you take all the figures on this page and add them together, that comes to $3,200, even though it's already been accounted for. It's good to keep in mind, is it worth paying $3,200 gross for all these annual fees? Well, let's dive into that a little more. What does $3,200 get me? So here are some of the things that it gets me. $925 in broad travel credits on these 3 cards, the Sapphire Reserve, the Altitude Reserve, and the Venture X. This is a situation where I would say full valuation applies. It's so easy to use those credits. In the first 2 cases, they apply automatically once the purchase is made. And a Capital One, not quite as appealing. You get a coupon to use in their portal, but it just comes right off the top when you make a portal booking. I get $200 in Hilton gift cards, or I suppose I could use it directly at Hilton stays. Is that convenient? Not really, but again, I'm going to Hilton's anyway. It's definitely worthy of consideration. I get a free night certificate with my IHG card that I value at $150. I mentioned earlier I had 2. My wife has since canceled her card, so we're only going to get 1 FNC moving forward. I get $140 in Capital One miles because in addition to the $300 coupon in their portal that Capital One gives you, they give you 10,000 Capital One miles every year, and I value those at 1.4, so that's how I get $140 in Capital One miles. I get $187 worth of Wyndham points. They give me 15,000 points every year upon renewal. You just get them when you pay the annual fee. And I value those at 1.25. So that's $187 in Wyndham points. And then last but certainly not least, I get $900 and $901 in savings over penny points. So what the Aeroplan card does for me is instead of cashing out my Chase points and using penny points to cover all those little things that are hard to pay for with points and miles, like buses, subways, boat tours, museum parking lots, those kind of things. I put it on my Aeroplan card. I use pay yourself back at 1.25 cents per point. If I can hit a transfer bonus right, it comes out to 1.625 cents per point. I'm not going to do the math on this video. Just trust me, I know how to do the math. If I max out my Aeroplan card every year, the new limit is 200,000 points a year of pay yourself back, I will save $901. That includes an annual fee offset over and above what I would have used in penny points. So I'd say that is an annual fee well worth paying. I consider this page to be the keeper cards, and the $3,200 in annual fee is offset by $2,500 in value from these keeper cards. P.S. The total fees on this page alone are less than $1,800. So if we're just thinking about this portion of annual fees, I'm paying $1,800 in annual fees, getting $2,500 in value. I'd say that's pretty good. Now, obviously, a lot of it is accounted for in this 901 from the Aeroplan trick that I use. But if you take the Aeroplan card out, it would be about break even. What does 3,200 get me continued? Well, we got to talk about Amex. Amex is a different beast. On the business gold, it gives me $240 in business coupons if I remember to use it every month. I temporarily misplaced my business gold card during the month of November and didn't use that credit. That's like when you can go to Staples and buy anything and get $20 a month offset. There's some other ways to use it too, but office supply stores is the easy one. So if you max it out, $240 in business coupons. The Platinum gets me $400 a year in Dell coupons. It gets me $120 a year in wireless coupons. And it gets me $200 a year in airline incidental fee coupons. I'm only including what I consider to be the easy-to-use credits. So that's $960 in Amex coupons that I can use. I value those at about 50%. So for the sake of determining if it's worth paying these annual fees, I'm going to say that Dell credit, I'll count it for half. And you know, like maybe I'll buy something that's $100 and resell it for $50. It's worth half of the face value. So with Amex, we've got a value of $480. Now, obviously, the annual fee on this card alone is more than $480. So this one, for the way I do things, the value proposition is just not quite there. Now, if you value other things, like, you value Centurion Lounge access, that could change the equation completely. But again, I'm only using the easy to value things. I'm not planning to retain these Amex cards. Generally, Amex for me is a one and done scenario where I open the card, I get the sign up bonus after the first year. I close it down unless I get a retention offer that's just too good to be true. And these both will hit their renewal during 2025. Continuing on, sub cards or sign up bonuses. These are one hit wonders. So all three of these cards are in the category where I get the sign up bonus, keep it a year, then I'm probably going to cancel it. There's really no value beyond that. Yes, the One Key card does give you $100 on your first anniversary of One Key cash, but meh. I'm not planning to retain these three cards either. I will either product change to no annual fee version or just cancel them altogether. And then as far as City, why are you here? This one is kind of hard to value because there's no easy to value credit. And it's sort of like you just have to pay a $95 annual fee for permission to use the City transfer partners. Does certainly make you think about whether or not City's worth keeping. So if I finalize all of this, here's a list of the cards. That's $2,503 in the keeper cards, $480 in the Amex coupon value. That's $2,983 in overall value. So obviously, I paid more in annual fees than I get in value from the cards other than point earnings. So you have to think about other things that are harder to value, like the benefit on the Altitude Reserve of 3 points per dollar mobile wallet, the awesome travel protections on the Sapphire Reserve, the Hertz rental car status on the Venture X, although that one pretty much does pay for itself. The meals that you get with gold status that come with your Hilton card, those kinds of things. So what's the verdict here as it relates to annual fees? Well, I'm going to keep the keeper cards and dump or product change everything else. That seems to be logical. Of course, the sign up bonuses on like the Amex card and any other cards that I open in the first year makes them well worth keeping in the first year. You always get outsized value in the first year. But that does mean bye-bye Business Platinum, bye-bye Business Gold sometime during 2025. How do annual fees factor into your war chest of points and miles in 2025? I will be happy to answer each question individually as much as I am able to. And as always, may your spending be frugal and may your points be plenteous. Thanks.